DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, according to some reports, the Patriots have been in contact with these two guys. And if the Patriots were to land both DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, how would this impact them? Would they be a playoff team, or are they still going to be a team who would be on the outside looking in of the playoff conversation? Let's talk about how DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin will impact the Patriots season this year. Now, currently right now, they probably are considered to be the worst team in the AFC East. And if they get DeAndre Hopkins, they will have a true number one threat on the outside. Don't know what they were doing, thinking about extending the Vondre Parker or DeAndre Parker. Can't remember his name right now, but that was an awful contract. He's not really good at separating. And Devontae Parker, I finally remember his name now. The only time he was really good for New England was during 50-50 ball situations. If you get DeAndre Hopkins, you're going to have somebody who's going to be able to get open. You're going to have somebody who's going to be a really great option for Mac Jones to throw the football downfield to. And you already do have Kendrick Bourne. You got a pretty good group of tight ends. So if you can get DeAndre Hopkins, that would drastically alter your passing game. And then you add Dalvin Cook. The Patriots have always been a team that's went 1 and 2 at the running back position. They normally just don't rely on one back. Last year, we all know how good Rhamondre Stevenson was, but they also did have Damian Harris, who now is with the Buffalo Bills. So if you get Dalvin Cook and Rhamondre Stevenson in the same backfield, you're going to have one of the best running back duos in the league. And the Patriots offensive line wasn't that great last year. The offensive line normally is a pretty big strong point for New England. So Bill Belichick and company, I do expect the offensive line to be a little bit better than what it was last season. You're going to have Cole Strange going into year 2. So when you look at New England, having DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook on the same team, I still don't know if that elevates them to not being the 4th best team in this division still. The Buffalo Bills still have a way better roster than New England. You got Josh Allen at QB. You're going to have a really good group of receivers. You're going to have Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and you're going to have a phenomenal defense. And what about the Miami Dolphins? Like, the Miami Dolphins arguably have one of the best roster, if not the best roster in the NFL this year. And then you look at the New York Jets. I mean, the New York Jets have a great defense. They are going to have a really good offense, at least when you look at what they have from a skill position standpoint. Their offensive line is really the only big concern that we have about the New York Jets. So them getting DeAndre Hopkins and Dalvin Cook, although they probably still would be considered the worst team in the division still, I think their playoff chances increase with those two guys on the roster. They may finish 4th in the division, but there's a possibility that 4 teams from the AFC East could make it into the playoffs, because I do think that D-Hop and Dalvin make the Patriots a playoff caliber football team, because this offense will be drastically better. You can never have too many great playmakers, but then you just look at how talented the rest of this division is overall. So although they could finish in last place in this division, they could still be a team that ends up sneaking into the 7th seed of the playoffs. So I think that DeAndre Hopkins still has a lot of juice left in the tank. Like, I keep hearing people saying that DeAndre Hopkins is washed up. Like, some of y'all need to
stay off the weed.
Like, please. How was DeAndre Hopkins washed up last season when he came into the NFL season last year in 2022 and just kind of dominated right out the gate, despite having to miss the first half of the season due to a suspension? Like, some of y'all need to come on, man. Like, D-Hop is far from washed up, and you got to remember that D-Hop is a Hall of Fame caliber player. Although he is up there in his 30s, Hall of Fame caliber football players regress at a slower level compared to the average NFL player. The average NFL player, once they get to 30, they start to regress. But if you notice, players who are future Hall of Famers, they end up normally being able to play at a high level until the mid to late 30s. So DeAndre Hopkins would still bring a different element to this Patriots offense that they haven't had in years. The Patriots have been searching for a true number 1 receiver for years. dating back to when they acquired Josh Gordon from the Cleveland Browns. So it's been that long since the Patriots have had even a respectable number one wide receiver. And then you look at Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, I don't think he's washed neither. Dalvin Cook was one of the best running backs in the NFL last season. He's a top 10 back, and he's not even 30 years old, man. Like, what is going on to the running back market right now?
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Like, this is Dalvin Cook. This dude put up really productive numbers with the Minnesota Vikings last year in 2022. The reason why the Vikings had to move on from him was due to the fact that they had to free up some cap space, and they had Alexander Mattison in the backfield. If they have Alexander Mattison in the backfield, I probably would do the same thing. Alexander Mattison, going from Dalvin Cook to him, isn't really going to be a big drop-off. Now, if they didn't have him behind Dalvin Cook, I don't think they move on from Dalvin. Like, do you know how good you have to be to have faith in a running back and say, you know what, we have a lot of confidence in you. We're going to end up releasing one of the best running backs in the league. Dalvin Cook is still a top 10 back. He is far from washed up. And when you look at the overall impact for what D-Hop and Dalvin Cook will bring to the New England Patriots, they may not be all that better in terms of where they rank inside the AFC East, but they have way better chances of being able to make it to the playoffs. And with these two guys on the Patriots roster, you kind of end up maybe giving Bill Belichick a little bit of the benefit of a doubt, and you say, you know, I don't know who the Patriots are going to finish over, but you probably have a little bit more confidence that they will finish at least third place or better with Dalvin Cook and D-Hop. Now, this is going to be one of those situations where somebody says, well, who are they going to be over? And you just say, I don't know. I just have faith in Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien that they won't finish last in the division. It's not something that you're going to be able to prove on paper, and it's not something that you're going to have a lot of confidence if you were to just make this decision based off what the Patriots are going to look like on paper. But you're just going to have to give them the benefit of a doubt that you trust their coaching and that you think that these two players are good enough that they're going to be able to elevate New England over somebody, because there has to be somebody to underachieve in this division. If New England ends up playing well with Dalvin and D-Hop and everybody else, Mac Jones plays well, maybe the Dolphins could end up disappointing because maybe Tua Tagovailoa misses too many games. Maybe the Aaron Rodgers thing doesn't work out, and maybe the Buffalo Bills just completely implode. But the Patriots with Dalvin Cook and D-Hop, they are a better team with them than they are without them. And I think that we can all agree with that. Now, would they still be able to make it to the postseason in a tough division with a pretty tough schedule? I think they could. This could very well be a division that's good enough to have 4 teams in the playoffs.